Let me ask you something that sounds simple but feels uncomfortable once you really think about it. Have you ever noticed that everything around you looks stable, yet your life doesn't feel like it's moving forward? You're working, you're earning, the economy is still there, markets are still open, technology is advancing. And yet, something feels slower than it should. No crash, no panic, no dramatic headlines, just a quiet sense that effort no longer turns into progress the way it used to. Most people assume this feeling is personal. They blame themselves. They think they're falling behind. But what if it's not personal at all? What if this feeling appears when a rich economy stops moving? Because economies don't always fail loudly. Sometimes they don't fail at all. They simply slow down and stay there. When people imagine economic problems, they imagine chaos, layoffs, collapsing markets, emergency meetings. But the most dangerous economic phase doesn't look like a disaster. It looks normal. People still go to work. Companies still exist. Money still circulates. But beneath the surface, something changes. Wages stop rising in meaningful ways. Opportunities become harder to find. Risk disappears. Debt quietly grows. Nothing breaks. Everything just becomes heavier. This is stagnation. And stagnation is hard to recognize because it doesn't hurt all at once. It hurts slowly. Rich economies are especially vulnerable to this because success changes incentives. When an economy becomes wealthy, it becomes careful. Capital stops chasing the future and starts protecting the past. Money flows into assets that already exist instead of ideas that haven't proven themselves yet. Banks prefer safety over experimentation. Corporations optimize instead of innovating. Governments manage stability instead of building momentum. On paper, everything looks responsible. In reality, movement slows. Stability feels good until it becomes the goal. Once stability becomes the priority, growth becomes optional. And when growth slows, something fills the gap. Debt. Not dramatic debt, not emergency debt, normal debt. Debt to maintain living standards. Debt to protect asset prices. Debt to delay uncomfortable decisions. Over time, debt stops being a tool and becomes background noise. And that's when it starts shaping behavior. Instead of borrowing to build something new, people borrow to survive. Instead of investing in productivity, money flows into maintaining the status quo. At that point, even powerful tools stop working. Interest rates lose their influence. Stimulus loses its effect. Policy becomes reactive. The system isn't broken, it's tired. This is why money starts to feel weaker even when inflation isn't exploding. Because inflation isn't the only way money loses power. Stagnation does something more subtle. It freezes progress. Your paycheck doesn't collapse. It just stops changing your life. Your savings don't disappear. They just stop opening doors. You're not poorer, you're stuck. And that feeling spreads quietly through society. People work more carefully. They take fewer risks. They protect what they have, not because they're lazy, but because the system stopped rewarding movement. This is where rich economies quietly change. Assets continue to rise, while real life feels heavier. Stock prices grow. Real estate climbs. But wages lag behind. A gap forms between those who own assets and those who depend on income. Over time, this gap doesn't just affect wealth, it affects confidence. People stop believing effort will be rewarded. They stop trusting the future. And once that belief fades, growth becomes even harder. This pattern isn't unique to one country. It's structural. Any advanced economy can fall into it when debt replaces growth, when safety replaces risk, and when stability replaces progress. The danger isn't collapse. The danger is comfort. Comfort that delays adaptation. Comfort that hides decline. Comfort that convinces people everything is fine, while momentum disappears. Most people don't notice this happening because nothing feels urgent. Humans react to pain, not patterns. By the time stagnation becomes obvious, years have passed, opportunities are gone, momentum is lost, and people are left wondering why life feels harder than it should. This isn't a warning. It's an explanation. Because once you understand this system, you stop blaming yourself. You stop chasing noise. You stop waiting for crashes that never come. Instead, you adapt. You think longer term. You focus on understanding systems, not hype. You stay flexible in a world that's slowing down. A rich economy doesn't need to collapse to fail its people. Sometimes it just stops moving. And those who recognize that early don't panic. They adjust. Quietly. This is the quiet economy.